You might be wondering to yourself, Zan, what the hell happened to your troll druid, your beautiful Sandalari? Don't worry guys, it still very much exists. I am just on a bank cult. Talking about bank cults, if you guys obviously read the title, which I imagine most of you did, or either saw the thumbnail, this is a little bit of a video where we are going into how to sell things on the auction house. Now, the reason for me making this video is because a lot of people don't really know how to properly sell things on the auction house, or even how you do it in the first place, right? Obviously, everybody knows post it on the auction house, let's see if it sells, right? But there's a lot of different strategies. There's a lot of different ways that you could go about it. There's also into like how much you want, like how much gold you want for things, bunch of different levels to it. And I obviously want to say that I'm not going to be going into, oh, you can make like this much gold if you do this, or this much gold if you do that. This is just like an like a generalized view into how you can get better at selling things on the auction house. The first thing that I recommend that you guys do is think about your starting position, right? How much gold do you have? How much time do you have? What are you trying to sell? When are you trying to sell it? What server do you play on? What kind of a size is it? All of these are small, small singular questions that you have to put into consideration before you sell something on the auction house. Now, you don't have to do all this. It's just if you want to get better at selling things on the auction house for the proper amounts, make more gold, all these beautiful things, you have to consider it. So I would recommend that you look into the server that you're playing on. Is it a low population realm, medium pop, high pop? Because that way you'll be able to find out how often you need to post something on the auction house to get better sales. Okay, the next you have to think about is, what are you trying to sell? Are you selling materials? Are you selling gear pieces? Are you selling transmog, pets, mounts, whatever it is? All of these different items have obviously periods of time where they sell better. There's also periods of time where you can potentially get more for these markets. If we take an example, crafted consumables for something like raiders, they obviously are going to sell better on reset day, right? And then you need to find out what other days beside reset day work really well for you. Usually a good casual raiding day or two is a Friday and Saturday, where a lot more people have access to more time playing in the game, right? So you have to learn a little bit about your server and the people that play there, because that way you'll be able to learn when to post and what to post things for. Now, the next thing you should do is you should look at your competition. If you look at your competition on the auction house on a certain material, let's pick something that I have. Let's say this one, Ghost Iron Bars, right? You look at the competition, you remember the names, and then you see, you try to figure out, okay, when are these guys posting? When am I going to have the best free space to not constantly repost my items? Or when am I going to have to really repost all the time to make sure that I actually get to sell things, right? These are all considerations that you can try to make if you want to get better at selling things on the auction house. The next thing in line is you need to remember to look at prices, okay? A great add-on to do this with is obviously Trade Skill Master. If you don't want to use Trade Skill Master, you can always use the underminejournal.com. And there you can look at historical pricing data. You can look at obviously how the prices have been going up and down on your server, but also regionally on all the servers. You can also look at how much quantity is on the realms, how things are moving, and that is obviously going to be very telling. What I would recommend that you guys do, obviously, is with the new auction house, you in something that I hear a lot is people say there is no reason to undercut. Okay, undercutting is obviously not as how would you say it, prevalent as it used to be. Now that we have stack sizes, as you can see here, 49,000, that is something, obviously we had pretty stacking at some point, which was you provided people with 200 stacks of a certain thing, or exactly how many they needed for crafting things, so like 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is. And that way you were much more likely to actually sell something if you were posting at those prices. But now that doesn't really matter, especially if you're selling materials. Now, it's always a good idea to look and follow the prices of what you're trying to sell, because if you consistently look at the data that you've been selling things for, then you get a better you get a better look into how much people are willing to pay for certain materials on your realm. Also in the time of day, also like which day in the week as well. There's a lot of like small notations that you can make on your own if you want to get better at knowing certain markets on your realm. It's also really important to notice when you're trying to sell something on the auction house, you have to repost. If you're like, you don't have to, but if you want to sell a strong amounts of items, you have to repost, especially if you're on a full pop, high pop, or even a medium pop. In some cases, you have to repost your items. Something you could do with the base default auction house when you open it up is you click onto one of your items, you click on ghost iron bars, and you can see, oh well, yours is the cheapest one. Click on elementium bars, also the cheapest one. Arcanite bars, the cheapest one. But there are going to be, as you can see here, there's some under me. So I would say here, cancel auction, but accept it and then repost it lower. Obviously, that depends on the next thing. So you also have to, but when you're investing in things, or when you're gathering things, you probably have a price in mind that you want to sell your items for. You have to decide, okay, how much am I willing to sell this for? Is there a low point? Am I not going to sell it unless it goes under a low, unless it's over a certain price? Or do I not care? Am I just going to sell it for whatever? It, like, that all depends, okay? Also, if you're just gonna, like, if you just want to get rid of something quickly, taking a material or a piece of gear or whatever it is and just, dumping the price, posting something for half the value of what it currently is not always a good idea, because a lot of people will try to push you out as pushing you out as competition. So they would try to push you lower and lower and lower to try and gain what you have. Obviously, posting things at a lower price sometimes will, get you pretty quickly, or not pretty quickly, but pretty quick sales because of what you're doing. Obviously, because you might post something that's, low enough for a very good price, and then you can look into it like that. Also, additionally, selling things on the auction house it all matters on you, right? I would also say that it's not always bad to cut losses. Like, if you want to take something that you have, maybe something you've invested in, maybe something you've gathered up, you want to take it and then maybe cut your losses and move on to something else. That's not always a bad idea, right? If you invest into something, you're not going to lose all of your gold. You're not going to be, you're not going to be stuck with 0 when you're done with it. You are going to make some gold. And it's also, when you're trying to sell things in the auction house, right, you want to make sure that you're selling it at the right time. If you are not in a rush to make gold, there is no reason that you should be rushing to sell whatever you have, unless there's something that, pushes it along. It could be anything, it could be a new patch, there's new items coming out, people are, lowering the price, and you want to make sure that you make a good chunk of gold from it. And I can understand that. So that's always a consideration you have to make. Now, obviously, as we've been talking about all sorts of different small ways as to get better at selling things on the auction house, whether you've invested or gathered in them, the next two things are going to be like it's like, it's awfully simple, but also, yeah, it's not, right? Something you can do is you can install add-ons so you can properly sell things. Something that is very good for selling things in the auction house is TSM. Now, TSM is obviously one of those add-ons that takes a lot of time to set up, and get to a point where you can properly use it to repost and cancel scan and all these things. You have to set up operations and whatnot. But the best thing about TSM, in my opinion, is that it saves your buying and selling data. So when you buy things in the auction house, it's going to save the amount that you bought it for, and the same goes for if you've sold anything on the auction house. It's also going to tell you how much you sold something for on the auction house, and that way you'll be able to keep a little bit of a track of what you've been selling things for in the past, how much things are going for now, and it's really important to look at these things, right? If you don't want to do Trade Skill Master, if you don't want to do TSM, there is also Auctionator, and Auctionator is at, you know, a pretty decent point. It's a little bit of an upgraded version of the default auction house, and I know a lot of people that do like to actually use it, but obviously TSM is, you know, far superior if you want to put your time into actually doing it. And then I want to make sure that you guys all you know, remember the most important thing is the fact that having pricing data, knowing how much you've bought and sold something for before, is crucial for getting better at selling things in the future. Crucial. If you do not remember what you bought something for, or you don't remember what you sold something for in the past, you can lose out on a lot, and I mean a lot of potential gold. And I just want to make sure that we all agree that it's important to keep pricing data. Now, I know a lot of these things might seem very simple. I know a lot of these things might seem like, oh, of course, San, who wouldn't know that? But I have learned to acknowledge the fact that a lot of people are very, very new when it comes to gold making. And also comes to the game. You know, both running the podcast, being, you know, live streaming on Twitch, there's a lot of people that ask super simple questions as to how to get better at selling things in the auction house. And these are pretty much everything that I could, you know, come up with thinking of, like all the different thoughts that I have in my head when I either invest or sell something that I've gathered, or just sell something in general in the auction house. So it's all about your add-ons. It's all about what you want, and you know, it's about how much you want for a certain thing, how much time you have, and all of the above. But the most important part is just make sure that you still have fun with it. If you're not enjoying posting your auctions, right? If you're not enjoying it, a lot of people don't enjoy sitting on the auction house all day. Just don't, right? If you're not in a rush for gold, make sure that you don't, you know, force yourself to do it and accidentally burn out. And, you know, we don't want that. But yeah, that's just a little side comment that I wanted to put in there. But guys, listen, I hope this helped some people out there. This will also serve as a little bit of a reminder for everybody that, you know, has been doing this for a long time, that even this more simpler things can still be very valuable for new goblins and new gold makers. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys. If you have any comments, if you have anything that you are doing to get better at selling things, or anything that you think is good to be included in a list like this, definitely pop it down in the comments below. Of course, if you guys have any additional questions, you can also ask them in the comments below, or on my live stream where we talk about all these things, but you know, every single day. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it made sense in some way. I know I rambled all over the place, so I hope it helped. But until the next one, see you guys.